senior pastor of the New Liberty Missionary Baptist Church of Indianapolis, Indiana. The United States has a policy of not negotiating with terrorists for hostages. There have been heavily criticized incidents in which U.S. government leaders were found to have negotiated with terrorists, with the most notable being the Iran-Contra affair and Barack Obama's negotiation with the Taliban Five. We have a friend who happens to be a high-ranking official in the U.S. military who is doing just that. She is negotiating with Taliban representatives as we speak. Although these Taliban negotiations are not amid any hostage crisis, it is void any threat of international terror, these meetings convene regularly. As I pray for my friend in Afghanistan, I can't help but to think about negotiations that are taking place domestically right here on U.S. soil. These negotiations are not for the release of hostages, nor are they to cease and desist in international bombing efforts, but they are to create change in policing policies and for criminal justice reform. Although domestic, it has the feeling of negotiating with terrorists because we are negotiating rights that the Constitution declares are inalienable. People of color are killed in the streets and in their homes for no reason in military and execution style fashion. Based on cover-ups, lack of judicial indictments, unfavorable verdicts, and delayed responses from city officials, it has the feeling of government-sanctioned domestic terrorism. Many of us who have social justice on our minds and righteousness running through our veins are called upon to lead these efforts of negotiating with terrorists. I do not know for the life of me why one would ever have to negotiate items otherwise deemed unchallengeable by the Constitution. Much like the current U.S. Taliban negotiations happening right now in Afghanistan, my call today is a clarion call to the negotiating table. But it's not necessarily because something has happened recently or imminent danger or threat is lurking. I'm making this appeal because we tend to ease up with the changing of the season. The last time I checked, Breonna Taylor was still dead and her murderers were still free. The last time I checked, George Floyd is laid to rest, but Derek Chauvin doesn't have his day in court until sometime next year, and by then they're hoping that you and I will forget. It's hard to negotiate when emotions are flying high. It's hard to negotiate when both parties have their fingers on the trigger. It's hard to negotiate in the midst of active court cases and the jury is still in deliberation. It's hard to negotiate with the background noise of looting, marching, and protesting within close proximity. How about coming to a resolve when there is no current crisis? Why wait until something happens to begin negotiations if we know there needs to be change? As much as you hear that the United States government does not negotiate with terrorists, we are indeed actively negotiating with Taliban in Afghanistan. And the motivation behind this is September 11th, 2001. As I was driving across the city today and in my neighborhood, I see signs posted all over the city that says, "We will remember." Well, I stopped by here today to tell you that's our motivation as well. Our motivation is that we will remember Trayvon Martin. We will remember Ahmaud Arbery. We will remember Breonna Taylor. We will remember Michael Brown. We will remember Eric Gardner. We will remember George Floyd. We will remember Tamir Rice and so many others. Say their names. Thank you. God bless you. And may God bless the United States of America.